also the president of a very, very cool organization called SKAL, S-K-A-L,
Tampa Bay,
an international travel industry organization. And our guest is Catherine Gathro, who helped organize tours of famous rock stars and other celebrities. So that's going to be great.
Yeah, and the Kelly Show is being shown right now on Facebook, and it's going to be podcast tomorrow.
Yes.
And also it's going to be shown on YouTube right now, and it's on 3 stations, 3 FM and 3 AM.
Signals. Yep. Very good. Yeah, we're all over the airwaves, you might say. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to talk to Ed about something. Ed Davis is the executive producer for the Tan Talk Radio Network, and he's sitting right now in his chrome and leather chair ensconced in diamond and emeralds, beautiful control room, probably one of the finest in the world. Ed, welcome again to the Kelly Show.
Chrome and leather chair covered in tree pollen.
Yeah,
and like everything else around here.
And those nasty worms, too, that are all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, we've got some news relating to the Buccaneers. We've got some new coaches, don't we? I think we have...
pretty much all on the offensive side.
Offensive coordinator.
The offense last year was pretty offensive.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was terrible. And this fellow, I can't remember his name, but he came to us from Seattle, the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, he was a clipboard holder for them there somewhere.
Yeah.
Not the guy in charge, but the third or fourth in command there.
I heard one of his interviews. He's very, very articulate. Looks like he's going to be a good one. At least he talks well.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see. What about the quarterback situation? Looks like they're going to go with Kyle Trask, the prior Gator quarterback. But what about Blaine Gabbert, who's been a backup? What do you think?
More importantly, did you get an invite to Tom Brady's retirement party?
Oh, of course. It's at our house.
It's March the 19th, I believe.
Yes, it's at our residence.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't wait to go there.
Yeah, right. Well, I told you before, for those who forgot also, he's moving to Miami. And he's enrolled at the University of Miami, and he's going to become the quarterback of the Hurricanes.
There we go.
You don't buy that, do you?
No.
Do you think they should trade for a big name quarterback?
They don't have the money.
They just don't have the money.
They don't have, when it comes to salary cap, they're $56 million over the cap right now.
Oh, brother.
So there's going to be some slashing and cutting going on to get down to that number.
Well, what's worrisome is that even with Brady, who most people will say is the GOAT, greatest of all time, they had a losing season. I mean, you're going to put some rookie in there now. My gosh, what's going to happen to us? They've got to get some horses on that offensive line. They can't run the ball.
There'll be some changes, believe me.
Well,
first thing they're going to do is take out those 6,000 seats that they added for Tom Brady's career here.
I know.
They got to take them out because those people are not coming back.
No. They're going to have some open seats for sure. Well, we're going to have a great show today. I hope you stay tuned to us. And right now we're going to take a short break. We'll be back in just a few minutes after this.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
In 1955, the law firm now known as Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes made a decision. Instead of taking whatever cases came through their doors, they decided to focus specifically on personal injury. 64 years later, the law firm is one of Clearwater's longest-running personal injury firms. Available 24 hours a day with offices in Clearwater and throughout Tampa Bay, they're ready to put decades of experience to work for you if you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or injured due to someone's negligence or recklessness. If you feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or unsure about your next steps after being involved in an accident or after a loved one sustained serious injuries due to someone else's negligence, call Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes at 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. That's 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. Non-attorney spokesman.
Shop the largest selection of Guy Harvey apparel, artwork, and gift items at guyharvey.com. From the world-renowned marine wildlife artist The Guy Harvey online shop features the latest in performance apparel, classic Guy Harvey t-shirts, decor for every room in your home, exquisite ocean-inspired jewelry, and unique gift items, including custom merchandise not available anyplace else. Browse an extensive catalog of original Guy Harvey works of art and a full range of beautiful reproductions. As with all Guy Harvey merchandise, a percentage of sales benefits the ocean conservation, research, and education work of the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation. The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation will help ensure that future generations can enjoy and benefit from a well-balanced ocean ecosystem. Bring the undersea world into your everyday life at GuyHarvey.com.
Do you know what a truly special blog is? It's a website that's rated as one of the best in Florida, chock full of fantastic articles, humor, videos, and hundreds of cool pictures. So what blog is creating all that buzz? It's ColorfulClearwater.com, a blog on the internet created by Kelly Kelly. In only its second year, ColorfulClearwater.com is gaining in popularity every day due to its original writing and original videos and photography. It's updated several times per week with fresh content and includes everything about the color, culture, and vibrancy of Clearwater citizens and businesses. Even though it covers just one city in Florida, ColorfulClearwater.com nonetheless is already outperforming blogs promoting tourist destinations and major sports teams. Hey, see for yourself. Give a visit to ColorfulClearwater.com and make it your source of enlightening insights and entertainment. That's ColorfulClearwater.com.
Ask any successful entrepreneur. They'll tell you that the fundamental way to grow a business is through strategic connections. Relationships drive business. Forming a solid network of reliable contacts is essential to your growth. And there's no better way to get connected in Clearwater than through membership in Amplify Clearwater, your Chamber of Commerce for Clearwater and Clearwater Beach. Amplify Clearwater is your first level of support. Membership affords you the opportunity to meet like-minded business owners you otherwise wouldn't have met. You'll be able to collaborate, network, support, bond, and do business with each other. Interested? Then visit amplifyclearwater.com. There you'll find all the information you need to make an informed decision and start the membership application process. Amplify Clearwater. One community, one chamber, one vision. Join today at amplifyclearwater.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Well, thank you for sticking with us, whether you're sticky or not. It's not quite summer yet, thank heavens, but we're here now. I'm Doug Kelly, and I'm here with my better three quarters, Kelly Kelly, and also Big Ed Davis, handling the control room, the executive producer of the Tan Talk Radio Network. Let's introduce our first guest.
Our first guest is Christina Park. She's the Chief Operating Officer for Amplify Clearwater and also the president of SCAL Tampa Bay. So which do you want to talk about first?
Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for having me. Let's dig into Amplify. I know we've had the opportunity to know one another through that organization. Yep. Been with Amplify, and formerly Clearwater Regional Chamber for about 6 years.
Mm-hmm. So it really became huge because there used to be two separate. They used to have a Clearwater Beach Chamber and a Clearwater separately neighborhood or regional chamber. Mm-hmm. And joining forces, it really has made it a much stronger organization. Mm-hmm. There's like over 800 members?
900. We've got nearly 900 members now.
Wow.
Yes, and I'm so glad that you feel that way. Yes, two separate organizations, similar missions, similar goals, and it was a community-led operation to bring the two together. And so we've got fantastic leadership, both in our board and in our CEO, and we've been really able to do some impactful work as a result.
Well, let's talk just briefly about the staff. You have Amanda Payne.
We do.
Who's the CEO. Talk about some of your other members.
Absolutely.
Officers.
So Jennifer Torello, I always call her Barra, recently married. Jennifer Torello is on our team. She is our marketing guru, and she's looking at our operation, other ways that we can expand, do some really cool stuff. I know on the break we were just chatting about some international trade trips that we're looking to take in 2024, oversees our Achievers group and several of the fantastic initiatives that we have under our umbrella. Mark Zenda is our membership guru, and he is just so easy to talk to, so relatable, right? And his job is just to come in and understand what keeps you up up at night and figure out ways that we can help you, reduce the stress in your business and make sure that you stay really well connected.
Very personable.
He is. He's
Yes.
fantastic. We have Stacy Reed Cash. She is our events specialist. And so the awards event or the annual gala or any of those amazing, incredible events that you come to, that is all her baby. And she oversees all of those things. Riley Nelson is our administrative assistant and keeps us everything on track and make sure that we don't double book ourselves and keep our
She's
schedule
your left
straight.
and your right hand, right?
She is, and she just keeps us all sane. I don't know where we'd be without her. And then we have Heidi Stone, who oversees our visitor centers. So we've got a couple part-time staff members in all of those spaces. We run 3 visitor centers on Clearwater Beach in addition to our downtown operation.
Very, very dynamic staff. It
Yes,
really is.
small but
I've
mighty team.
I've enjoyed meeting all of them over the years and getting
Thank
to know them.
you.
And y'all are doing a fantastic job. And I can't believe the growth of it. And, we talked before you came on the show, we talked a little bit too about the fact that during COVID, so many businesses and organizations just sort of put themselves on hold. Amplify did not do that. I mean, you were still aggressive, still had different events, activities, and you even have a podcast. So congratulations on such a wonderful job you're doing for the business community. And of course, the business community serves customers and visitors and residents too. So it's quite a circle.
Well, thank you for those compliments.
Yes.
You're right. I mean, we had the option to turtle and kind of step back, but what better time or what more needed time did our businesses have than a time like that? And so I'm really proud of the team and what long-lasting results that we've seen from all of the work that we did together. For an organization that primarily brings the community and makes them feel connected,
Sure.
when you're in a position where you can't travel or operate in those functions, we had to get really creative and find some different ways. But at the end of the day, a thriving business community, member or not, means a thriving Clearwater, thriving residents. And so that's a trend that I think you're going to see in a lot, to be the basis of a lot of our upcoming initiatives.
Everything's connected.
That is right.
One way or the other. That's certainly the truth. We attended recently a really cool organization that you are president of regionally. It's called SKAL. It's SKAL. It's by far the largest tourism group in the world. Tell us a little bit about SKAL and in the breadth and depth of it.
Absolutely. So yes, SKAL is an international organization, the largest membership-based organization, 13,000 members globally, representing over 100 different countries. And the point is coming together to do business among friends. And so we meet once a month and gather at a different location across Tampa Bay, showcasing the best of the best. These are your C-suite and next to C-suite executives from across, just kind of the creme de la creme of the hospitality industry, the movers and shakers coming together to just understand upcoming trends and insights, create those relationships and stay connected. I always say, if I don't know somebody, I know somebody that knows somebody because of SKAL. And so I've been a part of this group for about 5 years now, and I'm really lucky to serve as the club president for the second term. Fantastic group. We have about 80 members in the Tampa Bay market. And again, we gather every single month together in a different location. We've had opportunities for exposure for some really great locations across the Bay Area. One that I'll give as an example is the Floridan in downtown Tampa. We went to that towards the middle to end of last year. That's getting a new flag and a complete renovation. So we'll be traveling back there in December of this year to see all the fantastic work that's taken place there. But we go to the zoo and Busch Gardens, and we'll be going to Aspirations Winery just right down the street here coming up. So the opportunity to see some new spaces and have them showcase all that they can do for our partners.
That's super duper. I know we enjoyed our gathering there.
Good.
For sure.
It was at the Bel Air Country Club,
Yes.
and it had some of the greatest pasta I've had
Oh my
in
gosh.
a long, long, long time.
They
It
made
was
it right in
excellent.
front of you. So you pick your
Yeah.
ingredients. The guy has a skillet,
Mhm.
the chef, and it was phenomenal. I
was.
think it's the best I've ever had.
Well, they always
I
take great
think
care
so.
of us, which I
Wow.
love. And I think that what I also love is our partners are really willing to think different. What you indicated was that it's not a stuffy business
Yes,
meeting.
right.
It's really fun and social. You can see the camaraderie amongst, and I always love going to these. I'm really proud of the group as well. It was the only club in the entire world that did not miss a single monthly gathering of its membership throughout the pandemic.
That's something.
So we got really creative to do some things virtually, do some things that we're able to share on social media. And as a result, we were nominated for International Club of the Year 2 years in a row.
Oh,
and
cool.
we've been eligible for Club of the Year in the USA for 3 years in a row now. So
That's fantastic.
fantastic.
Now, how
group.
many members of SKAL are there internationally? How many clubs?
But there's
organizations?
13,000 members in 100 different countries. So I think there's 130 clubs, if I'm not mistaken.
Incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
So, wow.
So that's just an enormous organization. And it's composed of directors, of hotels and different entertainment types. I know that the Bay Area Concierge Association has a lot of people there.
They do.
With our friend Cece and Emil, her husband.
Ron McDougall.
So you end up not only getting to know people where you can network, but you starting to become friends with some of them. And that's always great when you can achieve that type of rapport, with somebody. It's more informal, it's less stuffy, as you said. And it's easier to ask people about certain things and can you connect me with so-and-so and et cetera. So good for you. That's wonderful. Well, let's talk a little bit about you. Where were you born and raised? Tell us.
Sure. So I'm originally from North Carolina, born and raised. I was High Point, the furniture capital of the world. And so that really is where my love of tourism and community development originated. My colleagues and classmates would get pulled out of school for a week twice a year because the market was coming to town, and they'd rent out their house and they'd leave town. And we hated the tourists that came in as a result. And I thought over time, obviously not in my younger years, but surely these two can coexist in a way that's healthy and in a way that, we welcome this type of economic impact. And so I did a lot of studying of tourism development. I've had the opportunity to study in Croatia, Ecuador, India twice, and just do this community-based tourism development. And that's why Clearwater and the Tampa Bay area was so fascinating to me. We have a lot of residents that were here when it was a sleepy beach town and woke up in this tremendous paradise that we get to call home. And how do we find that balance where our residents can love living here, our tourists can love vacationing here, and that experience is optimal for both? And so that's what drove me to this work. Yes.
Where were you in Quito?
Quito.
Oh, yeah. Okay, the capital.
Yeah, and spent a little time over on the coast as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a coastal town, and I think it's called, what's the Spanish word for beach? You remember? Do you know?
What are you looking at me for?
Because you're
I was like, you think I would know?
You're the guru of all languages, I thought.
flunked Spanish in high school.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay. Well, anyway, I was there too. We had, like for $2 or $3, you get this incredible seafood platter, shrimp the size of lobsters over here. It's just amazing. Anyway, well, that's great that you've been able to go to all these different places and you're exposed to different cultures, et cetera. Now, did you stay in North Carolina and go to college? Or
I did. I went to UNC Greensboro, and then I graduated and ran a convention and visitor bureau for a number of years in Eastern North Carolina. So that space between Raleigh and Wilmington. I kind of laugh. There were more pigs than people in the area that I was representing. And so if I can market that, I can sell anything. And
so
then
you're a Tar Heel.
I am. Yep.
Okay.
Then fell in love with the Florida lifestyle. Grew up vacationing in West Palm and different parts of Florida. And I think I had a certain perception of what Tampa Bay was like, and I was incorrect. I mean, just it wasn't the sleepy kind of, maybe older demographic of Southern Florida that I've been exposed to in the past.
You mean
once upon a time, but
Clearwater, Florida, the home of the newlywed and nearly dead.
Yes. And I've heard the green bench stories and God's waiting room and all of those things. But for anyone who has not been to see us in a while, you will be amazed that it is by far not that anymore.
Much more energetic.
Yes,
You know,
we have a
it's
vibrant community.
It's ironic. I mean, I love North Carolina because it's just so laid back and simple. And for you to come there, I don't know about you two sitting in there, but Christina, you talk so fast, I'm out of breath.
Well, North Carolina itself is just such a gorgeous state.
It is.
And so many Floridians are summer vacationers up in North Carolina, or they have a summer home.
It's true.
Yeah.
My sister does. She lives
It's a nice place to go cool off, is what it is, to tell you the truth.
That's where I was last weekend, actually.
Yeah, right. My sister lives part-time of the year
Waynesville.
in Waynesville, which is about 40, 50 miles from Asheville. And it's just breathtaking. The scenery,
beautiful.
the whole state's incredible.
I've been to Bryson City and
Boone. How about Boone?
Boone, I checked out. I'm trying to think. Silva area where they filmed that one movie with the train and falling off the tracks. The Fugitive. The Fugitive.
Oh, yeah, The Fugitive.
Yes, geez.
Yeah, super. Okay, so you went to UNC.
UNC Greensboro. Yeah.
Greensboro. Okay.
Yep.
And then what was your career path after that?
So I ran a convention and visitor bureau for a couple of years in North Carolina. And again, I just fell in love with the Florida lifestyle. And so did something that was very much not like me. I quit my job, I packed my car, and I moved here and moved to the Tampa Bay area because, again, I fell in love. So I started with a social media marketing company because that was right around the time that the RNC was coming to town and everyone was busy executing and recovering from such a large event in our market. And then I wrote a proposal for the St. Petersburg Chamber about getting involved in tourism and talked about how it could increase their profile and their membership and what benefit it could bring. Because similarly, we're talking about that balance between visitors and residents. And initially it was just a proposal for a few month project, but they fell in love with the idea and created a position. So I served for 3 years in St. Petersburg and then came up to Clearwater. We were trying to do some regional projects everybody kept saying, well, that will work here. It won't work there. And I thought, surely they're 30 minutes. It couldn't be that different. They are very different, just how you get things done and how the community is laid out. And so now I just think it's a beautiful thing because I've gotten to know South County and I'm really, really intimately familiar with North County. And so we're able to do a lot more countywide projects because guess what? Visitors don't see those lines.
That's true.
And so they'll traverse north to south. And to them, it's not disjointed 24 municipalities. So we've got to create that consistent visitor experience. And that's what that exposure's had given me the opportunity to do.
And that led you to the chamber.
Correct. Yep. So I went from the chamber in St. Pete up to the chamber in Clearwater.
I gotcha.
Yep. Was there prior to the merger and then have been able to be a part of Amplify ever since we merged in October of 2019.
Fantastic. Well, tell us about your family. I see on Facebook some really great pictures of your kids. They're just beautiful.
Thank you. We have a lot of fun.
I think you're proud of them.
A little bit. Yes. So my husband and I met when I was still living in North Carolina, and he was living down here in Florida, and he's in the bus business. So, pseudo hospitality indirectly, I mean. And so once I came down here and just fell in love with Tampa Bay, moved down here and we got married and we have a 3-year-old son. His name is Kai.
No, he's
and
beautiful.
He is, thank you.
He sure
just
is.
Energetic beyond, beyond imagination. I guess all 3-year-old boys are, but he is an adrenaline junkie. Right? Yes, he is an adrenaline junkie. But I have to tell you, living in this area, I went from being, a single individual to a newlywed to a married couple and a young family. And it's just been so fun watching what Tampa Bay has served up. And Clearwater, I mean, we just moved to a new part of the Clearwater area and are just in love. I mean, the parks and the playgrounds and the facilities. Now we're jumping into the whole education system. My kids start school this week for the first time, VPK3. And so I am just loving all the resources that are here. Bored is never a word that I use in this area.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. Well, good for you. Sound like you got your life in order. You're happy. And you're obviously energetic and well-driven and all. What is the contact info for SCAL? How do people who might be interested in getting in touch with that and becoming a part of it, how do they do that?
Absolutely. So thank you for asking. SCAL, SKAL, SCALTampaBay.com is the website you can visit to see where our upcoming meetings are taking place. Register for an upcoming meeting, come as a guest. My contact information is on there as well. So please reach out. I'd love to make sure you have a friendly face when you come to our club. The qualifications of the classifications that meet the criteria for membership are listed on that website as well. So you can find out if you qualify. Come visit us once or twice, check us out, see what we're all about. And then we'd love to have you join and be part of our growing club.
Fantastic. And then tell us also the contact info for Amplify.
Excellent. Yes, amplifyclearwater.com. So we've got fantastic events coming up, all kinds of membership information that you can find on amplifyclearwater.com. And you can find my contact information on the site as well.
Amplifyclearwater.com.
That is correct.
Super. Well, it's been wonderful having you on the show, Christina, as always.
Thank you.
We appreciate all that you're doing for the community, both the residents and the visitors through the Amplify. And then SCAL is just a great networking event. So anybody who might be interested in that, definitely follow up. One more time, give us a SCAL contact info.
Yeah, absolutely. SCAL, SKAL, SCALTampaBay.com. And then the same for the chamber, amplifyclearwater.com.
Fantastic. Thanks again for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll have you back on soon.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, we're going to take another short break. We'll be back with another very interesting guest right after these messages.
This is the TAN Talk Radio Network.
In 1955, the law firm now known as Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes made a decision. Instead of taking whatever cases came through their doors, they decided to focus specifically on personal injury. 64 years later, the law firm is one of Clearwater's longest-running personal injury firms. Available 24 hours a day with offices in Clearwater and throughout Tampa Bay, they're ready to put decades of experience to work for you if you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or injured due to someone's negligence or recklessness. If you feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or unsure about your next steps after being involved in an accident or after a loved one sustained serious injuries due to someone else's negligence, call Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes at 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. That's 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. Non-attorney spokesman.
Shop the largest selection of Guy Harvey apparel, artwork, and gift items at guyharvey.com. From the world-renowned marine wildlife artist, the Guy Harvey online shop features the latest in performance apparel, classic Guy Harvey t-shirts, decor for every room in your home, exquisite ocean-inspired jewelry, and unique gift items, including custom merchandise not available anyplace else. Browse an extensive catalog of original Guy Harvey works of art and a full range of beautiful reproductions. As with all Guy Harvey merchandise, a percentage of sales benefits the ocean conservation, research, and education work of the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation. The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation will help ensure that future generations can enjoy and benefit from a well-balanced ocean ecosystem. Bring the undersea world into your everyday life at guyharvey.com.
Do you know what a truly special blog is? It's a website that's rated as one of the best in Florida, chock full of fantastic articles, humor, videos, and hundreds of cool pictures. So what blog is creating all that buzz? It's colorfulclearwater.com, a blog on the internet created by Kelly Kelly. In only its second year, colorfulclearwater.com is gaining in popularity every day due to its original writing and original videos and photography. It's updated several times per week with fresh content and includes everything about the color, culture, and vibrancy of Clearwater's citizens and businesses. Even though it covers just one city in Florida, colorfulclearwater.com nonetheless is already outperforming blogs promoting tourist destinations and major sports teams. Hey, see for yourself. Give a visit to colorfulclearwater.com and make it your source of enlightening insights and entertainment. That's colorfulclearwater.com.
These days, amidst supply chain issues, staffing crises, and rising energy bills, it's not easy to be a successful entrepreneur in Clearwater. For many, financial fears have led to sleepless nights. On top of that, many more have employees and customers that they're trying to protect and reassure. A monumental task when they themselves are struggling with burnout. We're all experiencing a lot of intense emotions. So where can you find safe harbor? At Amplify Clearwater. Amplify Clearwater is your Chamber of Commerce, and the name says it all, to make Clearwater larger, greater, stronger. Here you'll find like-minded members who are seeking opportunities to learn from each other, to collaborate, network, support, and do business together. Every business owner's goal in 2022 is to grow their business. If you need help, your friends at Amplify Clearwater are here for you. Submit your application today at amplifyclearwater.com/join.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Thanks for listening to the Kelly Kelly Show. I'm Kelly Kelly. I'm here with my better half, Doug Kelly.
I say better three-quarters. You say better half.
Yes.
We're also here with Big Ed Davis, who's the executive producer, who's handling the control room for us. We always appreciate that. And let us introduce our first guest. It's
our second guest,
Catherine Gathrow, whose career has included leadership in the fields of education, business, and social activism. She began her career as a teacher in both public and private schools in Illinois, later became an elementary school principal. That's pretty cool. But she has much more to her than just that. And that's not saying that was not important quite a bit as what in itself. But you have been associated, led tour groups and all kinds of things for celebrities and rock groups and all that. Tell us about, first of all, where you were born and raised and your background. Then we're going to get into that.
Well, thank you so much, Doug, for having me on the show. And Kelly, it's such a dream come true. I was telling my friends that being on a radio show was on my bucket list.
Wow.
Yes. And so here I am being fulfilled. And, one time I fell asleep on a live radio show, so I get to redeem myself today, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's, our show has been endorsed by the National Insomniac Association. it's definitely a cure. If you have problems nodding off, just listen to our show and you're out of it for about an hour or two.
Well, I was born and raised near Chicago in a town called Waukegan, Illinois.
Oh, yes. And made famous by
Jack Benny.
Jack Benny.
Went to Jack Benny Junior High School, and he handed me my diploma.
Did he really?
He did. And
That's
he
a
actually
treat.
knew my grandfather. They were children together.
I'll be darned.
And it was just kind of fun, yeah.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I moved to Washington, D.C. in 1977.
Mm-hmm.
And through, the currency in D.C. is relationships. It's really not money. It's not a cool car or a great body. It's all about networking.
Mm-hmm.
And through friendships, I was invited to help plan some things. But then a good friend of mine was recruited by Simon & Schuster in New York to be their representative in Washington and Baltimore. And she was delighted to do it, but she got so busy with it and was so successful that she drew me in. And out of that, I ended up taking over and building a business called Woodruff & Seal Associates. And so we were publicity liaisons to about 75 publishers and PR firms and corporations.
Amazing. And a lot of people were on book tours, right?
Always.
Yes.
Book tours, speaking tours, even product tours. And so I was with several celebrities, a couple of heads of state,
Amazing.
Lots of athletes. And where I fell asleep on the air was I was touring New York City Mayor Ed Koch.
Oh, yes. Sure.
And we were doing the Larry King show. And it was an all-night show, pretty much, from 11 to 4. And then they replayed the first hour from 4 to 5. And I usually would sit in the engineer booth. And so I could chat and kind of stay awake and drink coffee. But Mayor Koch said, "Oh, no, Kathy, I want you right next to me." So I came in with them, and Larry looked at me and just kind of chuckled, because he knew that I would make it till 2 a.m. and then I would fight him for his couch in his office.
I hear you.
He would sleep for 6.5 minutes while the news was on every hour.
Is this Larry King?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
And then he would run back and slide in the saddle, and we're back.
You weren't one of his 15 wives, were you?
No, 7.
Yeah.
And one that was twice.
Yeah, he was very prolific in that regard.
Yeah. Well, we were sitting there, and of course, you have to really pay attention because we're with the autobiography itself.
Right.
And Mayor Koch was so full of life. He was the most extroverted guy I'd ever been with.
He used to come to Miami Beach a lot because a lot of people from Miami Beach were New Yorkers, ex-New Yorkers. So he was very, very popular in South Florida.
Yeah.
By the way, we're also here with Dr. Ken Neifeld. Last week, Ken was our guest, and Kathy was sitting in the so-called visitor's chair around our circle here.
That's right.
And now it's the reverse. You're the guest, and Ken's now sitting and listening and nodding his head and laughing sometimes. And Ken, of course, is a practicing physician here in our community. So it's great having him here. He's become a good friend.
And he's our next door neighbor.
And your next door neighbor.
We're so grateful for that.
That's great. So if you have any aches and pains, you got somebody right next door, right?
On speed dial.
There you go. Well, tell us about some of the people you've hosted and toured with. It'd be fun to hear.
Oh, I've learned so many life lessons too from it. The time I was with Ed Koch was great because as we sat around the table, it got to be very late, and all of a sudden you hear this heavy breathing, and it's me snoring, sitting right on the air.
Oh my God.
And Larry gets up and he tiptoes over to me and he takes my headphones off and he goes, "Kath, go to the office." And I was so mortified.
I bet you were embarrassed.
But I really learned early on to laugh at myself. And
Sure.
it really came in handy because most of our job was crisis management. And I had a lot of fun. Like I was with Shirley MacLaine several times.
Sure.
And so we got to know each other a little bit.
Really?
But I took her to the cemetery where her dad was buried. She's from Arlington, Virginia, where I live.
I see.
And our car broke down in the middle of the cemetery. And leaving her there, I said, "Well, commune with Dad for a while. I got to figure this out,
Oh, yeah.
And then one time we had Prince Philip, Queen Elizabeth's husband. I got a call from Tom Clancy, and he said, "Kath, would you do me a favor?" And I said, "Sure, anything." And he said, "Would you go to the airport and pick up Prince Philip and bring him down and to have lunch with me?" So I said, "Sure, we can do that." So I sent David, my partner, and he said, "By the way, don't drive an American car." And I said, "Oh, okay. So David goes out and rents a Jaguar, 4-door sedan, and they head down Solomon Island, Southern Maryland, and he gets to the gate of Tom's house, and he's got a cattle grate on the ground.
Oh, sure.
And the car gets stuck on the cattle grate.
Has
and
to
they
keep
can't
horses and cows
move.
from getting outside, yeah.
And so he had bought this old camp, and he had 75 acres, and it was a quarter mile up the driveway to the house.
Oh, no.
And David, my partner, goes, "I'm sorry, sir." And so Prince Philip and his bodyguard and his they had to walk to the door, and David had to figure out how to get this car elevated because he couldn't go forward, he couldn't go backward. So those kinds of things are that's what we run into.
Scary. That's scary.
Yeah.
Well, good. Tell us some more.
Well, when I first started out, I was very nervous. So I used to drive the route a lot before. And then if we had a celebrity that was a pretty big name, they would hire a limo. And then I didn't have to think about taking them around. I just enjoyed being driven with them. Well, one of my favorite stories is I was with Milton Berle, and we had so much fun together. And we were at Charlie Rose's show on CBS. And the producer there, his father owned the largest and most popular cigar store in Washington, D.C. And he came up to me and he said, "Kath, do you think Uncle Milty would stop by my uncle's store? It would mean the world to him." And of course, he was very willing to do it. So the limo pulls up, and we are right in front of the store, but then there's another limo right in front of us. And all of a sudden, about 50 people begin to gather. And Uncle Milty goes, "Do you think they're here for me?" And the door
opened. Ego there, huh?
Yeah. Well, he was so much fun.
Yeah.
But the door of the limo in front of us opened, and out comes Mikhail Gorbachev.
Oh, sheesh.
And
he trumped him, huh?
A little bit. I said, "Uncle Milty, I think they're here for him."
Yeah, yeah.
And so the two of us waved to him as we go in, but he just wanted to meet people. So he got out of his limo and just started shaking hands. And we go into the cigar store, and he says to me, "Does your husband smoke cigars?" I go, "Oh, no, he doesn't, but his wife does." And he looked at me, and he bought me this huge box of, $250 worth of cigars, which I, of course, gave to my father-in-law as a gift at Christmas. Sure. But it was a great, fun time.
Oh, true. And those who don't remember who Milton Berle was, he was called Mr. TV. He was pretty much a pioneer in the 50s of a lot of different shows, his own show, the Milton Berle Show, and of course was big on radio before that. And he always had these like rabbit teeth, front teeth, and then he got them fixed, when he got a lot older. But he was always interesting because all the other comedians used to laugh at him or joke about him stealing their material. So they would all say, "Is Berle here? I'm going to go check my hubcaps."
Oh, that's a riot. That is a riot. I also was with Jay Leno and Alan King. And
what's Leno like? He seemed like a real gentle soul.
He is a great person, really on the street, guy. Really enjoyed meeting people.
Not pretentious.
Not at all, And I was with Richard Simmons, who was kind of wild and crazy, but of course so out there that everybody would run up to him and he would, hug and kiss everyone in sight,
The exercise guru.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. And Lily Tomlin as well.
Yeah.
She was more reserved, but hysterical. I mean, everything that came out of her mouth was really funny.
Right. A Saturday Night Live pioneer.
Yeah,
she was
I think
phenomenal.
so. Yeah.
She was awesome in that whole group. Great. Well, man, you've had lots of different interesting experiences. I know you have a long list there. Tell us about some more of them.
Being in D.C., politics is always a big deal. People used to write books after they left, office or after they left the cabinet. Now people with social media and all write books to get elected. Have you noticed that?
Right. Yes.
It's kind of flipped,
Yes.
But I started in this business in 1982, and so it was the Reagan years. And so everybody from that administration wrote a book. We toured everybody, and it was just kind of, even the kids. I mean, one of the memorable interviews was Reagan's daughter, Patty Davis, because I took her she wanted me to take, I often took people places to see things or shopping or whatever they needed. We were like roving concierge, But she went to the Vietnam Wall with me, and I remember her being very surprised that, it starts in 1959. I'm like, yes, it did.
Yeah.
Know, but the whole political thing, I remember being with, we were with Ariel Sharon and Kurt Waldheim. I was with him the day they pulled him off the tour because all of the information came out about him about, I guess, kind of war crimes.
Nazi war
involvement.
Crimes.
Yeah. And so I said, I'm so sorry, sir, but I think you're finished.
That happened to Dag Hammarskjöld, who was the first one of the first United Nations.
Right.
And they found out in his background that he had also perhaps been on the wrong side during World War II.
Oh, wow.
So that can hurt the career.
Yeah, a little bit, I think.
Well, that's pretty neat. Patty Davis, of course, her mother was Nancy, wife of the president, Reagan. I never met them, but I went to I have visited his, with my son, his library.
Is it fabulous?
It's beautiful. Yeah, it has a model of Air Force One, for back then, a replica.
Go in it?
Yeah, they have tours. You walk through it.
I'd love to
You can see where he sat and where his press secretary and some of the other people, et cetera. It was pretty neat.
My favorite was James Baker of that crowd.
Was he?
Yeah, we did. I was thinking about it, and we did David Stockman, Caspar Weinberger, George Shultz, Don Regan. They all wrote books. Everybody coming out, and of course. But James Baker was just such a classy gentleman and so brilliant.
He was dignified.
Yes,
he always looked like he was a classy person.
And so even keeled.
Was he?
Yeah. Oh, but yet had a warmth about him. It was a great combo.
Well, see, you've had a perception of people off camera,
right,
who weren't maybe trying to put on a certain persona for the public, and that's what's incredible. And when you meet a celebrity and you find out they're a jerk.
Yeah, which happens.
Oh yeah, some of them are very nasty or very, they won't give you the time of day unless you're so and so. Yeah, but so you've had these experiences.
Well, I've had a couple like that, to be honest. I mean,
can you name names?
Yes, I can. Good. Because they're gone. I would never do it if they were alive. But I can remember I was the most excited to meet Shirley Temple.
Oh, wow. Shirley Temple Black.
Yes.
Yes.
When I was a little girl, I watched all the tap dancing movies.
She was unbelievable.
Unbelievable. So the limousine did not come, so I ended up driving. We had a couple of Fleetwood Cadillacs, and so I went to pick her up, and Charlie Black, her husband, was with her. And I introduced myself like I always did, and I said, I'm really excited to serve you. And she never said a word to me. She just said, Charlie, you sit up front with her because I don't want to talk. And I was like,
wow.
And I was stopped in my tracks. It was very mean-spirited. And I realized I had read her autobiography. So
yes, I have too.
She had a hard life.
Yeah.
So she was not going to, extend herself when she didn't have to. So, but I stopped and I took a deep breath and I said, oh no, I want you both to sit in the back. Please allow me. You don't have to talk to me at all.
Wow.
And so we go into the first television show, and we come out, and she left her coat there, and she screamed at me because we went on to the Larry King television show at the time, and she screamed at me like, you didn't take my coat. And I said, no, I didn't. Where did you put your coat? So I went back and retrieved it to the other station, CBS, and gave it to her. But I just remember.
So the good ship lollipop girl was not very nice in person.
And I just remember thinking, I'm glad I met her, but I don't really need her autograph. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah.
In her autobiography, she talked about meeting Kirk Douglas.
I had him too.
And she said that he came up to her looking all handsome and full of energy and told her what he wanted to do to her. And she immediately went the other direction, which I guess was a knock on Kirk Douglas. But tell us about him. He was one of the great actors of all time.
I had a lot of fun with him.
Did you?
And he was very grateful. And we were in a limousine, and his wife was with us. But he's on his autobiography, which talks about, at least 1,000 women he vetted, right? And I always wondered, how
and you were one of them, right?
No way. How do you do that? How do you have your wife with you? And but Kirk and Ann I was with them 2 days, and it was it was a great experience, and he was very grateful.
Is he?
And I just realized, you're with a legend, frankly.
Yes, he is a legend.
And he was elderly at the time.
Heck, he lived 103 or something.
I guess so. His book Ragman was what we were touring. It's his autobiography.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's phenomenal.
And I also had a very meaningful experience with a couple of people. Carrie Fisher and I really developed
Debbie Reynolds' daughter.
We developed a friendship. She was touring Postcards from the Edge, which was also based on her relationship with her mother, Debbie Reynolds.
Yes.
And we were being followed by a television show called West 57th. It was kind of CBS's magazine show at the time. And they were taping us on the whole Washington circuit. And she was just on. I called her the Robin Williams of the female set because she was just faster
She didn't
than
have an
lightning.
off button, right? She was
Very
pure
fast,
energy.
yeah. But we had a downtime, and I said, "Would you like to go to dinner?" And she said, "Yes." So we head over to Old Ebbitt Grill, and we're sitting in the back in a booth. And she looks at me and she said, "Kathy, you seem like you really are at peace." And I said, "I am. I'm just so grateful. I have a husband and I have a child." At the time, we had one child. And she said, "Do you know how lucky you are?" And she begins to open up with me about her whole life.
Her drug abuse.
And I said to her, "Carrie, are you always the fun captain?" Because she was pure entertainment on this, because they were filming her, right? And she said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I think you are." And I said, "Do you have people just crowding around you when you're like that?" And she goes, "Oh, absolutely." And I said, "Can I ask you another question?" And she said, "Sure." I said, "Are you ever curled up in a fetal position in your bed with the sheets over your head?" And she said, she dropped her fork and she said, "Yes."
Wow.
And I said, "Do you have anybody with you during those times?" And she said, "No."
How profound is that?
It was really deep. And we entered into a new level after that of conversation just about life and what's important, and that people have purpose and meaning, and that really we all just want to be seen and known and loved.
Isn't that amazing? That's a great story. And of course, for people who don't remember Carrie Fisher, she was in the original Star Wars movie, the daughter of Debbie Reynolds and Eddie Fisher.
That's right.
And went through a lot of crises in her life.
She really did.
And bipolar and different marriages and what have you. That must have been a fascinating relationship.
It was very special to me, and I felt honored to hold that secret, kind of.
Yes.
I learned something, though, from several of these authors. I happened to be with Tom Hayden and Abby Hoffman.
Oh, wow.
Different times, okay?
Back in the 60s.
The Chicago 7, And when I went, and right after I was with Abby, about 2 weeks later, he killed himself. And it really disturbed me. I just liked him so much. But I recognized that a lot of creative people are bipolar.
Really?
And I started to see it. It didn't matter if they were...
Well, like Robin Williams.
Yes.
He had terrible depression, and you would never know that because he was always upbeat and funny and full of pep and vigor.
But you know what I learned?
But I think there's a little schism between genius and insanity.
I'm sure that's true.
It's just like there's like a middle part, and you fall either way.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
I think so. And I also think that what I began to notice was people do their best work on the downside, not the manic side.
No kidding.
And that shocked me.
I would have never thought that.
I wouldn't have either. But I began to talk with people about it as they opened up, that, not necessarily people I was touring, but people that battle bipolar. And they say, "Oh, absolutely."
That's amazing.
I go off my meds to do my creative side.
Gosh.
I know. Interesting. I don't know if it's true or not, but it was an observation that I really looked for.
That's fantastic. Well, that's wonderful. What other names can you say about some of your experiences? This is really fascinating.
Well, I always liked the sports people. They were fun.
Sure.
I had a great time with Bart and Cherry Starr.
Oh, sure.
From the Green Bay Packers, growing up in the Chicago-Wisconsin border.
Number 15.
Yes, we were big Packer fans.
Yep,
and
I was too.
He was such a gentleman, and I loved being with him. I also was with Herschel Walker. Yeah.
Herschel ran for the Senate earlier and lost.
He was a very young man at the time.
No, was he?
And he was very large.
Heisman Trophy winner.
Fabulous young man. And he kept calling me ma'am. And I said, oh,
Polite.
please, you know.
Yeah, but that's a nice
But it's
sign.
a Southern thing. Yes, it is. And I pulled up to the airport at the end of the day together. And I said, Herschel, would you like me to walk you into the lounge, the U.S. Air Lounge? He goes, no, I'll be fine. Well, he gets in there. And I get a call from New York. And they said, Kathy, Herschel's being mobbed and he's scared and he doesn't know what to do. I said, I'll turn around and go back. And
There's
so,
a 6'3",
yeah,
240-pound guy.
Yeah, he was a shy guy.
Really. I was hoping he'd win. I don't want to get too political in our election, but he ran in Georgia. And of course, he was an All-American and he was a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yes, he was.
He was a tremendous player. Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
What other sports figures could you mention? Bart Starr's pretty big.
Yeah, well,
Herschel Walker too.
Yeah, I was with Mickey Mantle. I was with Willie Mays, which was not a fun experience. He was one in the Shirley Temple side.
Is that right?
Yeah, because he was a really bitter man. He had a lot of systemic racism thrown at him in his life.
Yes.
And he was underpaid.
But Jackie Robinson was too, and I heard he was not like that. He was not like, much more lighter and friendlier.
Interesting.
But Willie Mays was not. He was
he was so bitter. In fact, we had a book signing downtown D.C. and 800 people are lined up around the block at noon. And we ran out of books. And this woman's there with her 8-year-old son, and she says, Mr. Mays, would you just sign this ball for my son? They don't have any more books. I bought it and they're going to get it to me, but they don't have them. So would you? And he threw this enormous fit. So I went between her and him and put my back to the couple. And I said to the mother son, and I said, Willie, sign the ball. I get $50 a signature in Atlantic City. He was furious. I said, it's a whole different genre here. I mean, we're in another profession. Just sign. He wouldn't do it.
I'll be darned.
And then right behind the mother and son is a New York Times columnist who wrote the whole thing up. And the next day it came out in the paper.
Wow.
Not a fun experience.
No. Well, it's been so interesting talking. We've been talking with Catherine Cathro. Catherine spelled Kathrine.
Yeah, it's really Catherine.
Yeah.
And they call me Kathy. So.
Oh, do they? Yeah, Kathy, pretty much. It's been really wonderful listening to you and talking with you. And Kelly, I'm afraid that, sad to say, our hour's about to come to the close here. And let's thank our guests.
Awesome. We'd like to thank Christina Park from Amplify Clearwater and Skull Tampa Bay, and Catherine Gathro from Rockstar
Largo,
and Celebrity Tours.
Largo, Florida.
Yeah, from Largo, Florida, and a very interesting person. Yeah. And we also like to thank, when we have time, we have a few seconds here to thank some people who help publicize our show every day in an ad, and that's Dr. Guy Harvey, the great Baseball Hall of Famer Wade Boggs, and the Football Hall of Famer Jimmy Johnson. So, Kelly, it's about time for us to do the verse. We always do a verse every week because we're Christians.
Absolutely.
And not afraid to say so.
And the verse this week is from Psalm 91:11. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all ways.
And the adage for the week is, just remember, only the mediocre are always at their best. Isn't that true? Well, anyhow, we thank you for listening in. On behalf of Kelly, myself, and Big Ed Davis from TAN Talk, please stay with us every week. Tune in at the same time and station for another edition of The Kelly Show. Until then, take care and be healthy.
Thanks for listening to the award-winning Kelly Show on the TAN Talk Radio Network.